Countries observe daylight saving time. DST is used to give people more time in sunlight. Along with the US, various countries in North America, Europe, and South America take part in it. Many of these places lose daylight hours when seasons change. In winter, they become darker earlier in the day. To compensate for this, they set their clocks forward in March. Then, as winter approaches in November, they set the clocks back an hour. Many people love DST because they can enjoy more time in the sun. Businesses stay open later, and everyone saves on energy by using fewer lights. Others, however, do not like DST because it can be hard to adjust to the new time. For some people, it can even affect the quality of their sleep. Dog hands himself in to police. In the United States, it is common for owners of missing pets to contact the police. Most of the time, these local authorities can be helpful in finding the lost animals. Recently, however, a Texas police station had an uncommon encounter. In the middle of the night, a large German Shepherd named Chico strolled into the station. Then, he stood on his hind legs and put his paws on the front desk. It looked as if the dog was filing a missing report on himself. The police officers took pictures of the adorable hound and posted them on social media. But before the dog could be identified, it left the station and headed safely home. Actually, Chico's owner had no idea of his pet's adventure. He only realized it after seeing the cute pictures on social media the following day. Largest mirrored building built in desert. Moriah Concert Hall is a new building in Saudi Arabia. The word Moriah means mirror in Arabic. The building's name is fitting because it is covered entirely in mirrors. Recently, the cube-shaped building was recognized by Guinness World Records as being the largest mirrored building in the world. Its massive exterior measures 9,740 square meters. The building, which seats 500 people, is located in a remote desert region. The mirrors reflect the mountainous landscape. Because it merges into the background, it looks invisible at first glance. From a distance, it seems like a desert mirage. While Moriah Concert Hall itself is a work of art, it will also host various arts programs. For example, music performances by famous singers will be among the cultural activities there.
Politics and sports. In January, the International Olympic Committee, IOC, made an announcement. It said any political expression by an athlete would be prohibited during the upcoming Olympic Games. Athletes sometimes use medal ceremonies at international sports tournaments to subtly demonstrate their political beliefs. These athletes may hold up a fist or get down on one knee in protest. However, IOC President Thomas Bach said such visible demonstrations would be disallowed. The Olympics must never be a platform for political or any other divisive ends, Bach said. Some people support the IOC's decision. They say an international sports tournament is one of the few places where countries can set aside political differences. It even allows feuding nations to interact in the midst of political tensions. So, it is inappropriate for athletes to disrupt this neutrality with political statements, they say. Furthermore, these supporters say that political demonstrations can be distracting to other athletes in the tournament. These athletes train for many years in order to achieve peak performance during a competition. So they should be allowed to focus completely on their goal of winning a medal and not be diverted by outside issues. However, the IOC's announcement has been met with objections as well. These critics say that athletes are first and foremost individuals with personal beliefs. They have the right to express themselves politically if they choose to do so. No sports body should be able to censor the athletes in this manner, the critics say. In addition, the critics say that the demonstrations are usually so subtle that they do not disrupt the tournament. For example, raising a fist or getting down on one knee during a medal ceremony does not actually affect the competition or other competitors. So, these critics argue that as long as the protests remain tasteful and discreet, athletes should be allowed to show their political colors. Renting clothes is new U.S. trend. It is no secret that the retail clothing industry is struggling. Since the advent of online shopping, large clothing retailers have had a hard time keeping up with their online competitors. Now, a new clothing trend is promising to revitalize the industry: subscription-based clothing rental. It may sound strange, but renting clothes is one of the fastest-growing industries in the United States. Services such as Rent the Runway and ThredUp offer customers the opportunity to wear fabulous, often unaffordable outfits for just a fraction of the cost. This booming $1 billion business model has recently attracted the attention of flagging department store chains such as Macy's and JCPenney. In August, Macy's partnered with the resale company ThredUp to sell secondhand clothes in a few select locations. The chain is also working with the rental platform Castle to create a subscription rental program for its Bloomingdale stores. The executives of these stores are hoping these changes will boost their declining sales. Interestingly, this trend has not been limited to stores. A number of hotels, such as the W Hotel chain, have partnered with clothing rental services to offer guests greater convenience. Rather than packing and carrying their luggage, guests can now rent various clothing items for a one-time fee. The clothing rental trend is the latest face of the sharing economy. From Uber to Airbnb, younger consumers are moving away from ownership as they look toward more sustainable alternatives. Social media has also played a role in shaping their preferences, as many are content to wear an item without necessarily owning it. As a consequence of these changes, renting and buying secondhand goods has become more attractive. However, not everyone is happy about the current clothing rental system. Consumers complain of inconvenient returns and exorbitant late fees. Nevertheless, if retailers can find clever fixes to these problems, the possibility for profit is endless. Nike makes sneakers from junk. Global footwear company Nike unveiled a shoe design called Space Hippie this year. The sneakers were made completely with recycled trash. Nike representatives said the company was seeking ways to reduce its carbon footprint and use less resources. With these goals in mind, it developed the new environmentally friendly sneakers. There are multiple Space Hippie designs, including high tops. The sneakers are mostly gray, but they also have orange accents and the colorful Nike logo. Nike makes the sole from recycled foam and rubber. Recycled fabric and yarn make up the rest of the sneakers. For example, Nike uses textile scraps, plastic water bottles, T-shirts, and other miscellaneous materials to construct the sneakers. Despite being made of junk, the Space Hippie shoes are comfortable to wear. Plus, they look pretty fashionable. Self-driving cars. In the past, self-driving cars were thought to the stuff of science fiction, or perhaps something only possible in the very distant future. In recent years, however, this science fiction dream is gradually being made into reality by various corporations. In fact, some experts believe that all cars will become completely autonomous someday. Many people are looking forward to this switch to self-driving cars. They say that the move would make roads and highways much safer for everyone. In fact, around 94% of car crashes are caused by human error. So, by taking human drivers out of the equation, there would be a dramatic drop in the number of automobile accidents. Also, the supporters of self-driving cars say that the majority of people are not fond of being behind the wheel. Driving is often a stressful and even dangerous experience, and it requires people to exert a lot of energy. By allowing an AI to do this task, humans would be able to relax and enjoy the journey instead. On the other hand, some people say that it would be dangerous to make all cars autonomous. They point out that there is no computer system that cannot be hacked or taken over by a virus. Also, without human oversight, a small glitch in the program could cause major accidents. So the switch to self-driving cars would be unwise given these security issues. Furthermore, these critics say that making all cars autonomous would have too much of an economic impact. Millions of people earn money by operating vehicles, and the change would mean they would all lose their means of living. Also, the cost of autonomous cars and their upkeep would be a great burden to the economy, they argue.
Teddy bear hunt held worldwide. If you go on a walk, you might come across a teddy bear doll. They may be sitting in a tree, waving from a window, or having a tea party on a porch. These dolls are most likely part of a massive teddy bear hunt. It is taking place in at least 13 countries, including the United States, Belgium, and various Scandinavian nations. The teddy bear hunt first began in Iceland. It was inspired by a famous children's book titled We're Going on a Bear Hunt. The book encourages readers to use their imagination while seeking out bears. The activity became more popular due to the coronavirus outbreak. it is helping young children cope with the stressful situation. So, people are putting teddy bears in visible places. Then, when children go on walks with adults, they can try to find the stuffed toys.
YouTuber makes stop-motion ski video. Philip Klein Herrero of Spain planned to take a skiing trip in March. However, the coronavirus pandemic forced him to stay home. Instead of agonizing over the change, Herrero made the most of the situation. Herrero attached a camera to the ceiling of his house and created a stop-motion video of a skiing trip. He used skiing equipment for props and household items for sets. Herrero rearranged the room for each frame of the video. Then he added sound effects. In the video, Herrero climbs a mountain made of bedsheets. He cheers at the top and takes pictures. Descending, Herrero falls into a snowbank. The video ends with a reminder for viewers to stay safe at home. The video received thousands of views around the world. In this way, Herrero's bright idea traveled far and wide, even though he could not. Technology de-ages Hollywood actors. Robert De Niro, Samuel L. Jackson, and Michelle Pfeiffer are famous Hollywood actors in their 60s and 70s. In their latest movies, however, they look much younger than their actual age. This is thanks to de-aging, which is becoming more and more utilized in Hollywood films. The visual effects technology is taking many years off the way older actors look. For example, in the 2019 sci-fi movie Gemini Man, Will Smith simultaneously played a man in his 50s and the cloned version of the same man in his 20s. In the most recent Terminator film, 3 actors were de-aged to look like themselves 30 years ago. De-aging is not a new technology, as it has been used in movies for over 15 years. However, it was limited to brief scenes because it lacked believability, and its production price was beyond the budget of most filmmakers. In the past decade, de-aging technology has improved greatly in terms of believability and accessibility. Highly sophisticated AI programs make it possible to digitally de-age an actor for large parts of the movie at greater speed. Sometimes, de-aging is used to erase wrinkles and return the faces of actors to how they looked many years ago. Other times, visual effects artists superimpose the faces onto younger body doubles. It gives filmmakers new possibilities as they tell their story, one visual effects artist said. It also extends the careers of popular Hollywood stars. However, there are some concerns about the rise of de-aging technology. Some worry that it could take away acting opportunities from younger, lesser-known actors. Others say the technology may even allow fully digital actors to someday replace live ones.